Welcome to Paul's Yard Walk for May. For those of you that are regular viewers of these shows, you may have noticed that there was no show in March or April. We did a little traveling in March, and then in late March, early April, I got extremely sick and I was in the hospital, and so I haven't been able to do one of these, but I'm doing much better now, and thought we might do a yard walk. It's early morning here, mid-May, and so this is going to be an interesting yard walk because there hasn't been much yard work done, actually very little. I did manage to, in between rainstorms, mow the lawn here, but I had to do it in shifts because I get winded easily. And so I didn't finish my winter cleanup, didn't do any pruning, haven't done any weeding. So basically what this episode is going to be about is a lesson in what happens if you, how much work you really need to do on a lawn if you plant mostly shrubs and perennials. So let's just see. I don't even know what's going on out here. Let's find out. I'll start right here. As you may recall, this is a little fuchsia that I had bought a couple years ago. We had two cold snaps last winter. I brought it in the house for one of the cold snaps, and then on the second one I forgot to bring it in, and it got down, it froze. So I trimmed it back, which is what you're supposed to do with fuchsias, to overwinter them. And as you can see, it's actually leafing out better than ever. So I guess it's a good thing that maybe you should always cut fuchsias back if you're going to overwinter them. So it's leafing out. Over here, the begonia has come out of the garage, and it's leafing out now. It'll be a while before it looks like much of anything. Along the front of the house here, we have the columbines, which reseed themselves. And here's what happens when it rains and they fall over. I'm going to get a piece of string or something here and tie them up to the deck rail. We have a couple different kinds here. Here's a dark purple one. Here's a lighter one, and their seeds get spread. These come up from the roots, I think, along the front of the house here, but their seeds get spread all over the place. Well, let's go see. So over here in the side yard, these Mexican oranges are blooming now. It's that time of year, and they have a nice sweet smell. And when I come out the front door of the house, I can actually smell them when there's not too much wind blowing the wrong way. They have like I said, a nice smell. And then this is the early blooming clematis, and it's coming around here. It's basically going crazy. You can see it's just covered with blooms right now. And there's that evergreen clematis that's growing up in there too, which blooms later in the year. So I get two flushes of flowers here. It's lopsided because the sun is, as we're looking this direction, the sun is to the right, south is to the right, so it gets more sun on that side, so it wants to grow that way. But that's okay. It kind of hides my ugly tool shed back there. Here, the biggest fig tree has a nice crop this year of figs. So these little tiny, let's find one that's closer to where we are here. These little tiny green guys here are the baby figs. And I still haven't quite figured out fig trees. They seem to leaf out mostly from the tips of the branches. So I'm not sure how you would now this one here, I cut back because it was getting lopsided, and I see now it is growing a new leaf right there. So they do grow new leaves sometimes, but then sometimes they don't. Like here's this stick here that I had trimmed thinking this would grow a new leaf here, and it's not. So I don't know. I can't figure them out. There's a couple of other little fig trees here that they were several years behind, and maybe I don't get enough sun here. I don't know, but there's one there and there's one there, and then this is the Back here is a mock orange, which is a native plant, native to the west coast. It'll get nice, pretty white flowers. It needs a little pruning. It's starting to get, also it's getting tangled up with this alder tree here. It needs to get cleaned up a little bit. Here you can see there's a few volunteer columbines mixed in here. So somebody's been spreading some seeds, maybe a bird or something. This heather needs pruning badly. It's got a lot of dead wood in there. Still doing fine, but it needs some help. So I'll get to that when I get around to it. There's a shrub here that I planted last year. It's got nice little purple berries. Kind of pretty. Got a couple of lilies that are coming up now. The biggest California lilac up here is starting to get its flowers. They're starting to open. These will be purple here in a bit. The pampas grass needs its last year's stalks need to be cleaned up, and some of this dead grass needs to be pulled out to make it look better. Some of this stuff here, this plant that's growing in here is a, well, I don't know if they're native or not, but it's wild. It's a wild foxglove. And foxgloves grow wild here and spread through the woods and in the gardens and stuff. And I usually leave them alone if they're not in a bad spot, because they're kind of pretty though. They're biennial. So the first year, they only grow the leaves. And in the second year, they get the flower stalk. So you have to let them grow the first year and let them overwinter if you want to see the pretty flowers. And the bees like them, so that's a positive. Up here's my nice, it's a good smelling plant here. It's starting to get some buds too. Everything's got buds. This western hemlock's got new growth. That yew tree there has got new growth. My feet are soaking wet from walking through the deep grass up here. The pyracanthus didn't like this winter. I can see that right now. There is still, however, some green leaves here, so it's not completely dead, but it's going to need to be cleaned up quite a bit. It had a lot of these branches have no leaves. Pyracanthus is an evergreen, gets pretty red berries in the winter, and I've got it growing in the middle of this big shrub here. But it didn't like the cold weather, it looks like, so it died back. Here's a ground cover that I talked about in a previous episode. You can see the nice, almost fluorescent purple flowers that it gets. And you can also see some native, these are the native blackberries, I think, here, not the nasty invasive, but still acting like weeds. I need to trim those. And the Pyrrhus here has lots of new growth. That's what this orangish reddish stuff is. This is the new growth on the Pyrrhus at this point. This is a snowberry here, that native plant is not blooming yet. It'll get flowers and white berries later this year. Let's see how the Mahonia here is doing. This one actually is going to have, this one here is going to have Oregon grapes this year. It's going to have little berries, so the birds will probably like that. How about the front one? It had lots of flowers last winter. There's the flower stalks. Well, they didn't all freeze. Some of them here froze, but you can see these green things here. They're still green. They'll get a dark purple. But those are the Oregon grapes. And what else we got here? This is a volunteer evergreen huckleberry that I'm just going to leave go here, and he's got flowers. They've got their flowers are little umbels. They look like blueberry flowers. They're in that family. So that one's going to have blueberries this year. And this one here had a good crop of blueberries the last couple of years. I've had enough for my cereal in the morning in the fall. He's got some flowers here too. This one's weird. This has got lots of new growth, but it's all kind of strange looking. Might be a mutant. Maybe I should grab it. And here's more weeds, and here's that's a foxglove there in front. There's another foxglove there, and there's some more foxgloves in there. They're kind of starting to crowd. The grass here is crowding out my little dwarf evergreens. I need to trim those. Here's the barberry. Let's see what else we can find here. Boy, look at the healthy crop of grass this year. We had a dry winter, but we had a wet spring. The nice Japanese maple here is leafed out. It's got this nice dark red leaves that I really like, and it's starting to grow into the dwarf conifer here, so I need to trim one over the other back a little bit. It looks like the leaves are heavy. They're hanging because we had rain overnight. So whatever happened to the hellebores, the Lenten rose? Here's one of them here. This is the new growth, and here's the old growth down here. It's kind of black. It's what I should have cut off, and would have if I hadn't gotten sick. This is some ornamental grass planted next to it, but it's kind of that's a weed, and here's the salal kind of crowding it out. That's interesting. That's the new growth. I didn't know that the salal new growth looked like that. Huh. But this had flowers. Oh yeah, they're kind of hidden down here. But here you can see what's left of. You know, they bloomed back closer to Easter time, or before Easter. There's a couple of that one had white. Let's see what else we can find for hellebores here. This one had a nice crop of flowers this year. There's a dark, look, I'll tip them back here. This is a dark purple hellebore here. It has lots of new growth this year. It's doing quite well. This one's in good shape. And this guy back here, he's not so good. He's kind of small, but still green and still alive, so still kicking. I thought it had flowers too, but no, I don't. Maybe they fell off. I don't see them. Azalea, this little azalea bush here, it's blooming, very pretty, bright splotch of red in the middle of my green. It's an odd shape because a few years back I let the weeds go in the summertime and it killed off some of the leaves, but I've trimmed it back, and I'll get the lawnmower out and mow around it when I get back to this part. Over here, these are the summer blooming clematis that I had in the last episode, or one of the last episodes, I had cut these back to about here. Talked about not cutting them to the ground because of the slugs, and you can see now they're doing quite well. They're almost to the point here where I want to take and train them over a little bit, so they'll grow all along this top rail here. So then when they do bloom, they'll get nice little light blue, purple, whatever, lavender, I guess, colored flowers that bloom in the midsummer, late summer time frame, and make this a very pretty arbor. This is what happens when you let your lawn get about a foot high and you want to mow it. It looks kind of like a hayfield where the lawnmower it cut off a lot of it, but some of the stalks just got shoved down along the ground. But it'll pop back up, and then I'll come in here and mow. Here's my little blueberry patch back here. Everything looks nice and green and healthy this year. I don't know if I can find any flowers in here yet, but several of these blueberry. Oh, here actually, this one's got some blueberry flowers. Not very many, but a few. This is an evergreen blueberry. That one there that's blooming. So maybe it's a little earlier than the rest. And okay, take a quick look back here on the edge of the woods, and we've got. That's a red huckleberry there. That's a red huckleberry there. They're nice and green this time of year. Let's see if there's any trilliums left, or if the trilliums may have all lost their flowers by now. It's kind of late for them. They bloomed a long time ago. Okay, here's a nice big trillium that comes back every year. When it first comes up, it has nice pretty 3 leaves. When it first comes up, this flower is a nice bright white, and then as it ages, it turns that more of a color. So now it's not, I mean, you know, it's still pretty, but those are native, trilliums are native plants here. They grow from rhizomes, and there's, back in here, in this part of the woods, there's several more that we've seen over the years, and hopefully they come back every year, because we like them. They're somewhat rare. They don't transplant well either, so people that dig them up usually end up killing them. Yeah, here's some more trilliums back here. This one's already lost its flower petals right there. So we were a little late this year, but there's another one right there. Oh well, it happens. Here's some more columbines in the backyard. They usually use more than this here, so I don't know. Maybe the fact that they're crowded out by all that grass. Let's see what we got going on over here. This guy here, which I forget the name of, nice purple, dark, well, medium purple, nice purple flowers. He needs a little little trimming here. Apparently, it doesn't get enough sun back there, and he's trying to grow out this way. I've got another little shrub right there that he's kind of protecting from the deer. Here's a big old Mexican orange. Probably needs a little trimming. And here's a rosemary. It's starting to bloom. Hopefully not too early. The bees really like the rosemary flowers, and this has only got a few flowers right now, so it should get more. And I guess that's about it for here. So maybe we'll just end it right here. I've kind of made a circle. So you can see we've got some clouds, some blue sky. It's supposed to rain a little bit today. It's supposed to be nice tomorrow. So maybe tomorrow I can get out here, and if I'm careful and go slow, I can do a little cleanup. So we'll end it here with Tigger on his perch. So this was Paul's yard walk for May, and hopefully by next month I'll have done some pruning and some weeding, and everything will look a little better, and we'll maybe get some new plants, and we'll see what we get going on next month.